Well, to talk more about the situation in the country and the discovery of this new variant, we're joined by Dr. Rajesh Parekh, Director Medical Research at Jaslok Hospital, Mumbai, and Dr. Anup Kumar, Professor and HOD, Safdarjung Hospital. Thank you both, doctors, for joining us this morning. Dr. Parekh, first to you. On one hand, the government finally yesterday, after weeks of speculation, saying yes, there is a variant that has been found here in India, a double mutant. However, they've also said this variant is not behind the surge in cases that we're seeing.
Good morning, Gargi. Always a pleasure to be with you. There seems to have been a lag between accepting reality. That's the best one might say. I have been talking about the second wave for well over a year now, initially speculative. Mid-December, I wrote up a policy paper being a little more certain of a second wave that was coming in, just based on what's happened in the past and what's been happening all over the world in the current pandemic, and suggested measures that is now confined to academics. But for quite some time now, Gargi, I have been discussing with you too about a second wave which has been in the country. If you have half a minute, I have a feeling I may have shown this to you before, but if you'd bear with me, I think it's worth looking at again. And here is, if it can be seen clearly, the three waves of the pandemic which occurred 100 years ago. Here they are. And as we can see, the second wave was far more devastating than the first 100 years ago. And the third, though not as bad as the second, was still worse than the first. Now, this has been the pattern. It's an intrinsic feature of pandemics. And we should have been expecting this. We should not be surprised. It was very clear a few weeks ago, not with genomic analysis, mind you, because that hadn't been done yet. But if you looked at the clusters in which the infections were spreading, it did seem like there was a mutant strain. Now it turns out there's more than one. There's a twin mutant in India, and the South African and the UK variants are also spreading through the country. So I think in a way, I'm saddened that we waited this long, but of course relieved because we're finally acknowledging reality. Now comes the second question that you brought up, Gargi, and whether there is a connection between the infectivity and the mutant strains. Only genomic analysis would reveal that, but mind you, this has to be done on a large scale. It has to be done on thousands of people to establish a correlation. I suspect there is a correlation because the way the infectivity is going up. Right. But then again, the last word will be only with genomic analysis. I think what we ought to do is be open to possibilities rather than be in denial.